Now, you've went into this land, God allowed you to go into captivity, and 70 years have passed. And historically it's known that like 40,000 people just said, all right, it's time to roll now. They completely abandoned and left the Babylonian people and their culture because they remembered their identity. And for them, they were exiles. To them, they were pilgrims. They're like the Assyrians. Some of the Babylonians did not return. They lost their identity, becoming known more as Babylonians than as Jews. Are we any different than they? How many Christians are becoming more American than saint? How many here now will get offended when I say I never pledge allegiance to the flag because my allegiance is with Christ and Him alone. Him alone. That a saint should pledge allegiance to the flag is a tragedy. Why does that offend some people here? I know that offend a bunch of y'all here. Why does that offend you? Because you identify too closely with an American. You're primarily a saint first and then an American. Oh, it's just allegiance. Another Christian notes the same thing. He says pledge. He defines a pledge. To offer a guarantee by a solemn binding promise, similar to an oath. Allegiance, the loyalty of a citizen to his government or to a subject of his or her sovereign. Loyalty or devotion to some person, group, cause, or the like. A flag, usually a rectangular piece of fabric or a distinctive design that is used as a symbol, in this case a symbol of a republic of the United States of America. From these definitions we can understand a couple of things. Making a pledge is basically the same thing as an oath, and giving your allegiance to something or someone is basically committing your loyalty to that entity. Also, the flag stands for something more than itself. It stands for the country and government it belongs to. In short, to pledge allegiance to the flag means that you are making an oath of loyalty to the country, the United States of America. And this is also this same understanding, this refusal to pledge allegiance to the flag. This is also the heritage of our brothers and sisters in the Mennonite tradition, in the Amish tradition, in the Hutterite tradition. And I don't agree with all their theology, but that one thing I do agree with. Why do I agree with it? Because they understand that their allegiance lies with no culture, with no nation. Their only allegiance is with Christ. And that's the same thing that distinguished the Babylonians from the Babylonian exiles, from the Assyrian exiles. Why didn't the Rashak, Meshach, and Abednego, why didn't they bow their knee? That was just something simple. They could have just bowed with everybody else, but they refused to bow because they refused to give allegiance to a godless, idolatrous nation. And many of y'all, even now, y'all somehow in your head equate Christian values with American values, but they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. And if you're offended by that statement, I don't pledge allegiance to anything but Christ, and I don't teach my kids to do so either. And it should be considered a tragedy that the American flag is even next to the Christian flag in our church. It should be considered a tragedy, but it's not. And most of y'all think I'm just being extreme, but that's okay. That's okay. Any of y'all recognize that image there? One of my favorite historic images. All those people giving salute to Hitler in the Nazi regime. They got this one dude, looked like he'd been chewing on rocks. He refused to salute. He got his arm folded up. Why did this man refuse to salute? Because the values of the state were in direct conflict with his own. This one man, a shipyard worker with a Jewish fiance, did what countless of thousands of million German Christians would not. And part of the reason that the German church would not is because they were overly patriotic and nationalistic. They were overly patriotic and nationalistic. And so millions of Christians applauded Hitler. Christian people applauded Hitler. Why? Because they were overly patriotic and nationalistic. We blindly pledge allegiance to this culture, not knowing that they only tolerate us to the degree that we agree with their values. This is the same thing that the way the Nazis deceived the German church. Look at the Nazi manifesto. We demand freedom of religion for all religious denominations within the state, so long as they do not endanger its existence or oppose the moral senses of the German race. Don't you know that one day you're going to have to choose between your faith and your nation? Are we that blind that we don't see where this all is ending up? We don't see the Christian liberties that's being taken away from us. We don't even see where this is going. One day you got to remember this sermon one day if you live long enough. One day you're going to have to make a choice.